Alright, good morning, or evening kids actually. This is day 28's lesson, so you'll be doing this one for homework. So what I'd like you to do right now is make sure you have your notes out. Please write down the title and the objective. I'll give you a moment. Please pause the video to write that down. Okay, you should have paused the video. So your objective for today is you'll be able to create a three-part table, graph it, and determine if the relation is a function. So basically what we're going to be doing finally is taking those tables we've been making and we're going to actually graph the function. So check this out. Alright, so here are the steps. You can start writing these down as I talk about them. The first step is make sure your f of x or y is isolated on one side of the equal sign, meaning it's by itself. Okay. Next thing you want to do is create a three-part table and choose 4 points. It gives you these, but I would even say that you should even include -2. So put 5 points. It's okay. The more points, the better. 3, and it's not because it's busy work. It's just because you understand it better. You have a better idea. 3, evaluate the function for all points, substitute in and solve, and then list the ordered operations. List the ordered pairs. Then we're going to graph the ordered pairs, and then we're going to connect the points if the domain allows. Okay. Sometimes the domain doesn't allow us to do that, so yeah, we'll talk about that some more in a few minutes here. Okay. So take a moment to pause the video and write this down, please. Okay, here we go. So numbers 1 and 2, just watch right now. So number 1, we want to graph this. It says f of x is equal to x plus 1. Here's the domain that it's asking us to graph for. So we're going to do what we did on our lesson a couple days ago. We're just plugging these into our graph. So instead of x, I'm going to put in -3. So we have to think -3 plus 1 is equal to -2. So f of -3 is equal to -2. Okay, so that's the first answer. If I put f of -1, it's like saying -1 plus 1, which is equal to 0. Okay, so f of -1 is equal to 0. And then the third one we have f of 3, which is going to be 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4. Okay? So next thing we're going to do is make a three-part table. So, or you could do a two-part table. We kind of did some of the work already. So we have our x's, like we did earlier, and then our f of x's. Okay? So, we're going to put in our inputs, which were -3, -1, and 3. And then our outputs will be what we got. So when we had -3, we put in -2. -1 went to 0, and then 3 went to 4. And then we're going to graph. Okay, so we got -3, -2. We're going to go start in the middle, go to -3, and then down to 2. So we're going to put a point here, and then we're going to start again. We got -1, 0, -1, and then 0. That should be our point right here. And then 3, 4 is 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be a point right here. Now I will try to make a straight line. The domain is just saying for me to only plot these points. So we don't want to necessarily connect the points because it's saying I want us to know what the points are on these for this function or these particular inputs, so we don't connect the dots. Now if we wanted to connect the dots, let's say it just wanted us to graph everything, we would graph everything and it would look like so. And if you were to use a graphing calculator, it would actually look like that. Okay, let me try to make it look nicer here. I don't even know if I can. Oh yeah, I can. There we go. Nice. Okay, put arrows at the end if you are to graph it. Now, like I said, the domain only has these 3 numbers, so I don't want to graph it. I just want to include the 3 points. And basic what it's saying, this is the function, this is what it's looking like. If we look at our domain, we have a domain of 3, domain of -1, and a domain of -3, and these are our points. Okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, We got negative 3x plus y is equal to 4. So I want to isolate the y. So how do I get y by itself? Well, I'll do SADMAP, right? So are there any subtraction signs by the y? Yes, there are. There's a negative 3x. What's the opposite of minus 3x? Plus 3x. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And when I do that, I get y is equal to 3x plus 4. Okay? Now it's isolated. Now I'm going to pick some points. Let's pick negative 2. Okay, so I'm going to do my T-chart. And I'm going to go a little bit more quickly here because I know we could start doing these in our head. So remember, we're going to pick some points here. These are the points that are, there's no points that were given, so we're going to pick these on our own. Let's start with negative 2. Okay, what's 3 times negative 2? Negative 6. Negative 6 plus 4 is positive 2. Okay, next one, negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 4 is positive 1. Next one is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. Am I doing this right? Oh, yes, I was supposed to put a negative sign here. Okay, good. So then we have 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. And then we got 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. Now I'm starting to see a pattern here. I'm going here by 1s. You see how it's going up by 1 every time? And then on the other side I'm going up by 3. 1 plus 4, or 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7, and so forth. You see that? So that's kind of cool. I'm checking to see if there's a pattern here. Okay, so now I'm going to graph negative 2, negative 2. Plot my point. Negative 1, 1. Plot my point. Next one is 0, 4. Plot my point. Hey, look at that. It's starting to form a line. 1, 7. So I'm going to go over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, look at that. That works too. And then 2, 10. Got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to take a line. This one didn't give me a domain, so I'm just going to graph it as I see it. And then check this out. It looks like it's just going all the way across. So this is awesome. So I'm going to put some arrows at the end. And that's what my graph looks like. Okay, take a moment to pause the video and write these down. We're going to do a few of these on our own. Okay, you should have paused the video and written these down. Let's keep going here. Alright, let's do a couple more. Okay, number 3. Let's do this together. Let's start by making a T-chart, just so we know. So we got our x's are our inputs, and then f of x is our outputs. And we're just going to write this down, okay? So we don't have points, we don't have a domain given to us, so we're just going to leave that alone and pick some points. Usually I ask students to pick these points to start off with, just because we're starting to learn how to graph. Okay, we're starting to plot these, so we have to put negative 2 in here. Negative 2 squared is positive 4, right? And then positive 4 plus 1 is going to be 5, right? I think we did this problem a couple days ago, right? In your notes, look at your notes, right? You got negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then we got 0 squared, right? 0 squared is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay? I keep going here. 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Hey, look at that. There is a pattern here. Okay, it's coming back up again. I wonder what's going to be here. I think maybe a 5. Let's see if 5 works. So let's put this in. We're going to put 2 in as our input. 2 squared is 4. Hey, look at that. 4 plus 1 is 5. That's awesome. So we're seeing a pattern here. So we're going to plot our points. You got 0, 1. Or I'm sorry. We have negative 2, 5. So we got negative 2. Plot our point. Then we got negative 1, 2. Plot our point. Then we got 0, 1. And so forth, right? And you're noticing it kind of makes a V. Now, it's not, we could do connect the dots, but I want to show you on this kind of problem, whenever you see something with a square term, like this, let's curve it. So we're going to curve this graph as well as we can. I know it's going to look like a V to you, but it's still curved. We'll look at this more tomorrow. But that's what that graph is. So take a moment, pause the video, and write this down. Okay, number 4. This is like number 1, so we'll do this one together. Let's make an XY table. Start with that. Put it here this time. Okay, and we're plugging in our numbers. So it's already solved for y, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's awesome. So we're going to put y equals 2.5 times. Let's put our first domain value, which is -2. Okay. So what's 2.5 times -2? It's -5. Okay. So when I put in -2, I get -5. Okay, cool. Now we're going to do our next domain value, which is -1. So I'm thinking, what's -1 times 2.5? -2.5. That's right. So we're going to put -1, -2.5. Okay, last one. We got 2 here. Okay, 2 times 2.5 is 5. So we're going to put 2 and 5. Now I could pick more numbers, but the domain here tells me that I only want to pick these. So we're kind of constricted on what our inputs are. So we're going to go and graph this. So take a moment and pause and graph this. Alright, you should have graphed this on your own. So this is what yours should look like. You should have gone -2 up 5. I'm sorry, -2 down 5. -2 down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right here. Okay, we should have -1, -2.5, and then 2, 5. Okay, don't connect the dots because it's telling us that we only want this domain here. Okay, so make sure you don't connect those dots. Alright, that's that number. Okay. And you'll wonder why are we not connecting the dots. If you look at this problem, you see how it gives us a domain here. It's saying these are the only ingredients I want to use, okay? Whereas on this example, it doesn't give us ingredients, so we can use whatever ingredients we want. All of the ingredients, right? So I'm hoping that kind of makes some sense to you. Okay, we got 2 more to go. Alright, so this one, let's just make our Tchart table here, and we're going to graph it, okay? So pause the video, try this one on your own. Okay, you should have done the following. We're going to make our Tchart. We got X. I'm sorry, let me use my brown color. I know I'm into brown right now. Looks nice. Okay. We got X and then f of x. So if I put in -4, you should have had -4 times 4 is -16, minus 2 is -18. Okay. Next one is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. Next one we have is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay. Okay, and then you should have graphed something. So I'm going to make a quick little graph for you here. Okay. Let's see, I'll put the y-axis right here for us. Okay. We're going to plot our points, -4, -18. I'm going to go by 2, so this is like 2, 4. I'm going to go -2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, right? Oh, sorry. Oh, I lost my place. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. Next one is going to be 0, -2. Next one's going to be 2, 6, so it's going to be right here. You could see they're in a line, and we would normally draw a line, but the domain is making us say these are the only ingredients we want to use, so we're not allowed to use any other ingredients. Okay? So we are kind of stuck with that. Alright, let's do one more. Okay, so this one I'd like you to try. This is like number 2 all the way through. Quick hint, you need to isolate the y before you start. Okay, so this is what we should have done. You should have added 2x to both sides. When you do that, you get, these cancel out, y is equal to 2x plus 2. Then we're going to pick our ingredients. So we got x and y in this case. X is our input, y is our output. We pick our ingredients, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then we're going to plug these in. -2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is -2. -1 times 2 is -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 2 is 4. Hey, look at that, I'm seeing a pattern. I bet the next one's 6. 2 times 1 is... What am I talking about here? I think I got confused here. Okay, so -1 times 2 is -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 4 is 2 is 4. And then 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to plot these points on a graph. Okay? And your graph should look like this. -2, -2 should have a point here. -1, 0 should have a point here. 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, 6. Look at that, they're all on the same line. Oh. Okay, so then since they're on the same line and we're not limited to a domain, we could actually draw a graph all the way through our points from end to end, okay? And then since there is no limit on our domain, we could draw arrows at the end. Alright? Anyways, that concludes the lesson. Think about, well, actually take a moment to write this down, pause it. Okay, and make sure that you think about these questions. I know we're not talking in class, but you know, these are important for you to remember. What did we learn? How do we do that? Okay. You might even want to talk to your parents, be like, hey, Mr. Rink wanted me to answer these questions for you for math. And just say, hey, we learned how to graph functions. Too, how do we do that? You can tell them the steps. Talk to them about maybe why we can't connect points for some graphs and we can for others. And then how might we use this in real life, okay? Maybe you'll have a good conversation, okay? And then also, please do workbook page 23, okay? Answers we'll talk about tomorrow. All right, we'll work together. I appreciate all the hard work you're doing. You're doing great. All right, take care. Bye.